Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Journey Navigation podcast number 5. Today we will talk with Caroline Purvey from the UK, who is going to talk about the total release experience. And I look forward to talk to her because I look forward to get to know more about this information myself. So, let me just give you a little bit of background here. She is founder of the Total Release Experience UK and creator of the Total Release Experience program, empowering those looking to find freedom from their unnecessary suffering. Her work is transforming lives as clients worldwide discover the power of their own body to heal from the past or from past stress, overwhelm, and trauma. Voted in the top 10 women to watch in wellbeing, her unique online course is adopted by fire and rescue, police, and prison service. Popular because it requires no talking, touching, or medication. University validated data highlights the program 99% improves physical, mental, and emotional well-being, and not by chance. It becomes a tool for life and a life tool. With over 10 years dedicated to her work, Caroline says she is still blown away by the results clients share as they take responsibility for their own well-being. So that is really exciting and awesome, and I look forward to talk to Caroline now. So let's get her on the stream and see if we are connected. Are we connected?
We certainly are. Can you hear me?
Yes. Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm great, and thank you so much, Gideon. I'm delighted to be joining you on your show. So thank you for that invitation and opportunity to share.
Welcome. Yeah, I look forward to hear a lot about this myself because I have been suffering from these things myself in terms of trauma, stress, and all these things. I think most of us can relate. Yeah, I'm just an open book. So perhaps we could just start with, who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you are now.
Well, life's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
We never know what's around the corner, but I'm a great believer in synchronicity, and everything happens for a reason. And I'm from Dover in Kent, so in the UK, as you said. And my journey has taken me through a different series of life experiences. And in brief, if I said, I spent years working with young people. I was in business, always a worker. I ended up doing my 3 degrees later in life and went into teaching. And when I started my first teaching job, I was introduced to yoga. And that I loved. And when I finished my degrees, I thought, what else can I study? And I was drawn to teaching yoga and also getting involved in physical therapies. So I learned reflexology and head massage. And the wonderful thing was to be able to do something for somebody for that education experience. Whereas 7 years on academic learning, it's like, what do you do with it all? Yes, you apply your knowledge, but to be able to do something practical was I just loved it. And when I came out of education, I opened up my own yoga studio, and I was told about a program which found me in South Africa, learning something I'd never heard of before. But the timing was everything. And I came to realize that all of those things that I had been through were very applicable, the skills and the knowledge, to be able to do what I am now doing, which is teaching, which is supporting people in their health and, I think the most powerful journey to health and well-being. And of course, it's my business. So all of those skills come into play, and we work with children as well as adults.
Awesome. So this started in South Africa for you?
The journey started in South Africa. Yes, it happened at a time when I was supposed to be there for the birth of my daughter's baby. And birth like death comes when it's ready. And I'm always saying, don't worry, I'll be there, but not bought any tickets. And very close to the mark, one of my yoga ladies told me about something. And I took a look online at a link she'd sent. And there was an event going on in South Africa. I made a phone call that night to South Africa. And well, it couldn't have worked out any better. I went to bed that night having bought 2 tickets. We arrived on Monday. On Wednesday, the baby came. And on Friday, I'm in a venue in South Africa. Now, given the size of the country, it could have been anywhere. And when I was told where it was, I said, that's 5 minutes from where my daughter lives. I mean, the writing was on the wall. So I think it definitely was part of my destiny. And before I left South Africa and the 3-day event I was on, I vowed there and then to make it happen in the UK. But of course, now it's a global experience.
Okay. So the total release experience, is that, so what's the bridge between how you got to know about it as a tool, and then where did you take it from there? Or...
Right, that's a very good question. When I came back to the UK, I opened up my yoga studio, and I'd already got a community because I'd been teaching for some years, and started talking about what I learned. And of course, I had to go through some additional kind of case study work. And I very soon discovered that there was more to this than I was being taught or could be taught. And from that, I realized that when the body comes to heal itself, it's experiential. And why? Because everybody's body is different. And everybody's body is different because they've all got their own unique backstory and history. We've all experienced stress, overwhelm, and trauma at some stage in our lives, some more than others. But it's a different experience for each and every one of us. It's a different impact on the body's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And that's where my learning took me in a different direction, because every client I work with, it's like, wow, didn't know that. And I've dedicated the last 10 years to the work because it's so transformational. And I learn off every client, even to this day. Which is wonderful.
So is the total release experience, is that the brand that you have called it, or is it a...
That's what I called it.
You learned how it worked and so on, and then you called it this, and then made it...
Yes, absolutely. And I soon realized that actually it was far more powerful than I understood it to be from my initial learning. And so from there, I did the education that is so important, because we teach our clients to use this as a tool for life and a life tool. And even this morning, I had an email from a lady that learned a few years back before COVID, and she said, you know, I'm still doing the practice, and it helped me over the last few years. But of course, now she wants her daughter to learn it because her daughter's suffering with anxiety. So.
And what has been your own experience with that in terms of the actual, was there you must have experienced it on yourself, and then
I do it. I do my program every week. It's my go-to tool. You know, I love it. It's that, and I still teach yoga. Are the 2 tools that I have in my box that I use, and it makes everything else easier. It makes communication easier. You know, it keeps your energy levels up. Your voice, you say what you mean, and you mean what you say. I mean, the benefits are incredible, and I wouldn't be without those for sure.
So like it's the, you release sort of all that sort of restricting being your honest true self kind of thing, and then it's sort of just, it's easier to just sort of be. or that things come through you in both a verbal aspect, but also in an sort of an action aspect.
Yeah, it's okay. So the practice itself is very physical.
Okay.
And why? Because every time we go through stressful, overwhelming, traumatic experiences, we build tension in our body. We're all energy beings. And what I loved about one of your first shows on here, it was vibration versus abundance. And I thought, wow, the connection with what we do is so vibration versus abundance. As animal beings and as energy beings, energy gets blocked in our body. And the reason it gets blocked is because we go through stress, overwhelm, or trauma. We go through the fight, flight, freeze system that our body's geared up to do to get us through to survive. But the missing piece of our jigsaw is to release the adrenaline and cortisol straight after the event. So it gets stuck in the body. But that initial freeze, and it happens from the day we're born, that startle response gets drawn deep into the body, into the psoas muscle. Now, anyone listening, the psoas muscle, PSOAS, they probably think, what? There you go. That's a great image. And that muscle sits under the diaphragm. It's connected to your diaphragm through connective tissue, behind all your organs, down to the top of the legs. So is
that the green part?
No, that's the fan muscle, the pink muscle that you see there. Yeah.
So the whole thing. Okay.
The whole thing. And so it's like a protective cloak because it's in your back body. So if you imagine, if you've been on a flight and then suddenly there's turbulence and you almost go into that brace mode, we do that. That's the tonic freeze, that moment of flinch that we go into, as I said, from the day you're born. And what happens is that muscle is our fight flight center. It's where we hold fears, emotions, and it impacts our breathing. So you imagine the number of times that you just flinch, you're pulling more tension into the body. So it's pulling on the diaphragm, and breathing gets more and more challenged the longer it goes on.
And then, it makes you constrict the actual breathing into your stomach and keeps it up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And when one gets, let me turn this as well. We talk about the psoas as being our stress bucket. It's easy for everyone to understand. We're all stress buckets and we fill the bucket with our history. And then what happens is as the body gets tighter and tighter, we then start to notice the physical, mental, and emotional problems that come, such as low back, hip, neck, shoulder pain, gut problems, headaches, head fog, poor memory, lack of focus, can't sleep. The list is endless. Anxiety, depression, panic attacks, breathing problems, high blood pressure, and at worst, stroke, heart attack, cancer, suicide. And I really don't like that word suicide because nobody wants to take their own life. And in our language, we just say, the bucket's got that full. They've just lost it in that moment. And I'm sure, your listeners will perhaps recall a moment in their life where they just lost it. Okay, they didn't do anything as drastic as taking their own life, but they lost it. And then when they, come out of that and think, God, why did I do that? And unfortunately, when that bucket is so full, that's what one does because they've lost it. And we work with the fire and rescue and police, and we have had even inmates in the prison, and many have been on the edge because the bucket's been that full. And when they start to physically release the tension from the body, then everything starts to calm down. They feel calmer, more at peace, and certainly not on the edge where they were.
Yeah, I've experienced it in a way where, because I wanted to control an outcome of a situation, I sort of suppressed, a lot of things, and it sort of got to a point, some years ago, where like my stomach was just
Yeah.
jittering with tension, and yeah, it's only been the last period of time where I've actually been able to sort of. I mean, there's been periods where I've been working on and sort of calmed it down a bit, but it's just within the last months here that has really made a difference. But so I understand that. Yeah, it's not fun when you feel like attention is stuck in you,
Yeah.
But I wonder if is the experience at birth, is that just like so fundamental that all the fear and all the drama and stuff that's on TV, and everything, is that connected to how we, because when we look at that, we obviously look at fear as an animal, right? And so, I mean, I'm assuming those two things are connected, but is there one?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm sure you've seen a dog shaking.
Mm. Yeah.
If you take the lion chasing the zebra, when the zebra's free of the lion, he's suddenly realised this is not going to be today's dinner. Before he eats grass, he does one thing, and animals in the wild do this. They tremor. Their body shakes, and what they're doing in that moment is just shifting the adrenaline and cortisol, getting rid of the tension, and then it's like, happy me, I can eat grass for the rest of the day. But unfortunately, as human beings, we've lost that deep understanding of what our whole body can do. And the practice that we empower people with is an animal practice. We have a mammalian brain, and that brain, I call it our survival brain, it's responsible for our breathing and our heart. We don't have to do anything to breathe through the day and the night, day after day, night after night, nor do we have to do anything to make sure that our heart is functioning well. And most don't even get to connect with those systems at a deep level until they start to realize they're going wrong. And then what's happening is we're incapacitated, or it's game over. And I say this is the third missing piece of the jigsaw. We were all empowered to release by tremoring. You listen to newsreels and people are saying, oh my God, it was terrible, it was traumatic, and I was shaking. Well, jolly well that they don't understand what the shaking was. They'll have been given a hug, a blanket, a cup of hot sweet tea. It's okay, you can calm down now. If a child was to be shaking from fear and upset, I ask adults all the time, what would they do? And the answer is always the same. Well, give it a hug, comfort it. And that has been suppressed in the body. And so where does it all go? So it's little wonder children freeze. They can't fight, flight, and blocking it in their body is what they do. But I can't tell you how many adults we work with where all the problems started in childhood. Now, whilst they don't always know what happened, or they don't know all the things that they ever went through, their body remembers. And that's powerful. But I mean, in this day and age with so much going on, it's a very exciting thing to actually get back to our roots, what we were born with.
Yeah, we need to, what do you say, deprogram ourselves again, and let go of the stuff we don't need.
Yeah, that's it, because we carry it around, don't we? It weighs us down.
And when that I had an experience, or a healing experience, or whatever you want to call it, in India in 2019, where I went through a month of Ayurvedic treatments. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because they started the treatment that they did, made the body sort of process things itself, so that they knew what to do, because it's a thousands of years old tradition. So they just do whatever they're doing with massages and oils and all this, and then the body just sort of starts a process that that knows better than anyone, and that's what's interesting, is that we already have the cure. We just need to find the way to get the the process started, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I can't do anything to anybody. All I can do is say, look, your body has the power to do the talking, and you're the one that has the power to turn the tap on of that bucket. And our tap is to thoughtfully activate the psoas. And I can't do it, but I can give all the education, all the knowledge. I cannot tell anyone what their experience is going to be, for that very reason. Every human being is unique and special and different, but they don't know their own uniqueness, because the diamond we talk about gets buried in the bucket, because the more one goes through, the real person is so busy struggling with the day-to-day maintenance of back pain or neck pain or all the other things that go with it, that they can't focus on what they want, who they want to be, what are their gifts. They don't know. Sometimes when I remember some years ago, somebody said to me, don't ask me what my dreams are. I don't even know what it is to dream. And tragically, there's many that have gone through that life, but it's about having hope and saying, everything you've done to now is fantastic, and there's some wonderful services out there. But there's one thing you can do to enhance everything else that you've done or are doing. But it has to come from the inside out, not the outside in. And there's a huge difference.
Yeah. So is there any interesting experiences that you've had, both, yourself or with people you have worked with, where they've been in whatever specific state that they were in, and then the change and how they're doing now? Is there any interesting you could share? I'm sure there is.
That's a good question, and I could story tell for hours. I wrote my book, Feel It to Heal It.
Yeah, I have a picture of it here.
Because
I'm going to cover your face again a bit. No, sorry.
Oh, fabulous. And that shows the psoas as well. And we're about freedom, and that's what the image on the book is. It's about finding freedom from the unnecessary suffering, from the physical, mental, emotional pain. And as I said, everybody's history is different and everybody's healing is different, but healing starts straight away. And well, I wrote the book because there were so many stories, and they're not mine to sit on. And every day I collect new stories. I've had some amazing conversations today with clients that are doing the program and what's happening for them. But I guess the story, and it is in the book actually, of one of the inmates in prison. And he was only a young man, and the first time I met him, after his session, he sat up and he was in tears. And he said, "I've got nothing to live for." He was on drugs. He was only late 20s, 30. And we chatted, and he told me some of his story, but he said, "I got nothing to live for." And I said, "But you've got a sister, so you've got everything to live for." And we'd see him week on week, and then he'd disappear for a bit, and then we'd see him again. Anyway, he eventually, we saw him before he was due to be released, and he said he would write his story. He was drug-free, he felt great. And when I read his story, it was, my goodness, he was a very happy child to the age of 11, got into football academy, as he says, every boy's dream. And then his mum died from alcohol poisoning. And addictions, I tell you, anyone with addictions is masking trauma. They may not know what the problem is that's causing their problem, but they do it because it takes them away, whether that's addictions, in alcohol, drugs, food, gambling, any OCD behaviour. There's a backstory behind it. Well, he came out of prison, and last summer we had a project in a garden and we needed some extra labour. So I got in touch with him and he came, and the builder said to me when he finished, I read the story. I said, you put 2 and 2 together then. Marcus's story. Marcus's name is in there. And he should be very proud of himself because he stood tall and shared what suffering he went through and what took him through to end up in prison. And I said, the builder said, well, he's a really nice chap. And I said, I had him here for 2 reasons. He's no longer angry. He's emptied his bucket. He's no longer on drugs. And this is the longest he has ever been out of prison. And that's got to be good for the community. It's got to be good for the prison itself and the cost. Because the cost of having somebody in prison is pretty high. And, there are so many stories where, women who can't have babies have got pregnant, they've recovered from their grief and been able to move on in life. They've come out of their wheelchair, the trauma put them there, and been able to move on from the horrors of the past. And there's so many stories, Gideon, but, the one from the prison will always stick in my mind.
Yeah, because they literally locked up with not just themselves, but also with us, probably.
Angry people, angry children.
Yeah, that must be amazing to see that change and to be a part of that journey.
Yes, I mean we stopped working there because of COVID, but they do want us back in there. But of course, now our programs are online. We're hoping that we can reach out to more prisons and train people up inside to be able to share the work and work with them. So they have little else,
So the actual people who work there can help the inmates, you mean?
Well, that's the strategy that we want to move forward with them.
Okay.
So, which is exciting.
So is there any, any practical, like if somebody listens to this, and is there any, of course they can look up your website and so on and look at the courses here.
Yes.
But is there anything they practically can do, like already from after this call, or?
Well, it depends on where one is in terms of their well-being, and anyone that suffers with, anxiety, panic attacks, overwhelm. The one thing I always say is breath is the most important thing that you have. And when you connect to your breath, you at least become present. And that's important. Never let yourself get so overwhelmed that you do that irrational thing, whatever that is. It might even just be words to somebody else. And then that causes an even bigger problem. Connect with the breath and just be still. Let yourself calm down. Go to the website and have a look at the book. It's on Amazon as well. If anyone's around the world, they can read some of it and start to get a feel. They can book a calendar link through the website, and I'm very happy to have a one-to-one with somebody to, listen to what their needs are and how we can best help them, and that we would be a good match. I often get asked, will this help me?
And this as well as a commitment of some sort.
The answer is yes. So it costs nothing to talk, and it costs nothing to look. And, the program's available as well.
So the fundamental part, the fundamental is to work with your breathing in a specific way.
Well, there's a practice called left nostril breathing.
Okay.
Which is calming breath.
Mm-hmm.
And if one wants to know how to do this, then take your finger to the left nostril.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a soft touch. So literally, you're just going to be closed and open. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I invite you to just leave your finger there, close your eyes for a moment, just let your breath settle. And then after your exhalation, close the left nostril. You've got to close your right nostril. Okay. Start again. Close your eyes, settle. And then after your next exhalation, close your right nostril and breathe in through the left. Open the right, breathe out through both. Leave your finger by your nostril, so it doesn't move. Right nostril. So literally breathing in, breathe out through both. So you close your eyes and settle into that. You don't even have to move your finger away from your nostril. Close your right, breathe in through the left. Open the right, breathe out through both. And just repeat, just keep repeating. And just go another couple of times. And when you've finished, I want you to just rest your hands in your lap and stay with your eyes closed for the moment. Now just open your eyes. Do you feel any calming effect from that?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a good one to connect with when you feel a bit overwhelmed.
Right. And is there any length or any number of repetitions?
No, I mean, I would, obviously just stay there until you really kind of feel that you're absorbed into it.
Okay.
And that you're becoming a little more present. You just start to feel, and you'll know when it's time to just release and just be. But that's kind of our rest and digest.
Okay.
Of course, if we want more energy in our body, we would do the opposite. Okay. We'd breathe in through the right, closing the left.
Okay. Why is that? Why is that? Is there a difference between the two in terms of calming and energy?
There is. I mean, it's a breath we teach in yoga.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. In the end of the session,
the yin and the yang. Yeah.
Okay.
So it balances the nervous system.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, interesting.
But the left nostril breathing works on the parasympathetic nervous system, so it quietens.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other works on the sympathetic nervous system, and it brings us some energy. So you can use your breath in whatever way.
Right.
If you're feeling ungrounded, then sit feet to the earth. You can sit on the floor with your back to the wall, or sit in a chair and bring hand to heart and hand to abdomen. And just breathe deep in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just stay connected to that. And that's good in the short term. But if, it gets you through that situation. But taking that tension out of the body is the real icing on the cake.
Yeah, and it's also really. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, I was just saying that's. I think one of the most. Yeah, like we have the best tools with us all the time, and we just need to understand that. We need to understand that we have that and become aware of it. And as soon as we are, and as soon as we put it into a disciplined practice and make it sort of a part of our life, then it's not really work anymore. It's more of a lifestyle, and
it's innate, it's natural, it's something we're born with, and it takes less than an hour a week once you've learned to feel comfortable and confident with it. And that's what we teach. And I say I work with my son.
Right.
It got him out of his rabbit hole. His stories in the book, but I mean, he was living in Germany, happily married, 3 beautiful children, and everything went wrong. He made some bad decisions financially and found himself sleeping on a shop floor mattress, drinking Aldi wine. We had no money. What was he going to do? He couldn't afford any treatments of anything. But then he had a realization that, actually, my mother taught me something when I was in England. What was that again? And that's when the magic happened. He didn't even have to move off the mattress. And there he was. He started to build himself up. He's as passionate now and has been working with me for years,
awesome.
which is wonderful. He's got 3 very happy, grounded children, and he's a great father. And he specializes in working with men that have gone through relationship breakups, because it's painful. Painful for anyone going through relationship breakups.
Sure.
But there is a way out, and there is hope for everybody.
Yeah, and that's what we want to feel. We want to feel the confidence of that we can actually make our changes, make our own changes, that we are not dependent on anything else but ourselves.
Yes, that's so true. There has to come a point where we do have to take some responsibility. In the UK, we've become very dependent on the NHS service, and that the doctors have got a pill for every ill, but actually they haven't. And medication only masks the problem. It's a temporary thing. But the situation in the UK with the queue for young people with anxiety and depression queuing up for counsellors, there's not enough to go around. There's not enough resources. And the counsellors and therapists themselves are all under strain.
The sad thing is that it's symptom-based treatments, which is just money generating, really, and it's not the treatment of causes. And that's also why the material that I have and work with and help people to understand is to understand that we have this image of our mind, to understand the subconscious and the paradigm that holds, that we when we understand that we can actually change that based on how we think and what we are emotionally involved with when it comes to how we feel and so on. There's a lot of things, and that's what we need to understand. But I think what is really gratifying or satisfying is to experience that you can do something that you are born with and you have it right here. You just need to you sort of have to go back a little bit and just sort of say, okay, I need to learn something new. I need to study. I need to understand something new and get into a rhythm of it and just experience the change of it. It's just so much fun to experience, because if you can treat yourself when it comes to like anxiety and stress and these very heavy things, I mean, what else can you do? There is no limits from there, really. Because it's fundamental to how you feel.
And it's interesting, Gideon, because 2 things happen. I mean, we talk about going on a roller coaster ride when you're healing. Well, feel it to heal it. That's what it's about. But it's very quick and clean, and it's gone. But before people embark on the program, and they'll always say, oh, but I'm very scared, or I'm quite fearful. Well, I say, why be afraid of your own body? Because you live in it. It is the safest place you can be. And your body will never take you to a place of harm. It's so in such an innate intelligence. It knows exactly what it's going to release when the time comes and how it's going to do that. And immediately the response is, wow, I feel a bit lighter. I feel different. I feel calmer, more peaceful. But it's ironic that the very muscle that we want people to understand is the core of their issues is where the fears are held. So there's this kind of little battle going on mentally. And the other thing as well, you know, in the health service, we have doctors for mental therapy, we have doctors for gut, we have doctors for heart, we have doctors for breath, we have and yet the body is a whole.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Everything's connected. Yeah. People say to me, well, you know, I need to get rid of the physical stuff. And I said, but your mental stuff will go as well, to make no mistake. Yeah. Often the first thing is, wow, I feel clear-headed. It's like a cloud's lifted, the fog's gone. And that's lovely. As well as, the back pain's not there either. Because we're all connected from top to toe. And everywhere in between. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's very important to understand and very sad. I mean, it's good that we are able to find information from you and from the people who understand, and there is obviously a lot of people who do understand and so on. But it is also kind of sad that we have a society where it's very separated. It's separated from that. It's symptom based, and the objective is not really holistic health. It seems opposite what it should be.
I mean, we have a wonderful doctor who's done the practice, and she recommends to her patients, and she's contributed a chapter to the book, which is wonderful. But I was talking to a lady recently who's a receptionist in a doctor's locally, and she said, oh, you know, some of them, they're very skeptical, or they're not into, you know, alternatives. And I said, but the joy is it's not alternative. I said, I bet half your patients show up with low back pain. She said, oh my God, yes, but they all want their pills. It's fascinating. We're so conditioned, but I think the time's come where we have to start taking responsibility.
Yeah, and that's also really a gift in terms of it's very easy to look for excuses on the outside, you know, because that's also part of the program, I guess, and it's nice to just it takes some guts and some you know, you have to sort of let go of your pride, you know, and just sort of suck it up a bit and say, okay, I need to learn something new, or I need to take responsibility for what I haven't. But it's also very liberating, you know, because it keeps you honest with yourself when you begin to do that. So.
And I want to come back to your vibration and abundance.
What was it yesterday? You mean?
We're a vibration. As human beings, we're all an energetic vibration. And when your body starts to release, those subtle vibrations are bringing you abundance, because you're going to have better health on every level. When somebody who's been an addict, what was his abundance 5 weeks after he started the program? No longer drinking alcohol. So crikey, he's got abundance financially because he's not having to buy the substance. Off his prescription drugs, not having to pay for them either. Actually got a job and held it down. He's earning money. It's priceless. And quality time with his children. But tragically, his trauma started when he was just 19 years of age, and his wife died giving birth to the child. And the way of coping, like so many others, is to turn to the drugs and the alcohol. But it's a joy to see that transformation. So he's got plenty of abundance from allowing his body to vibrate.
Yeah, there's another point in terms of when you invest in yourself, that takes time, it takes finances. And of course, most of us, we stumble when it comes to finance. So we don't want to pay to invest in ourselves and all this, right? But what will it cost not to do that? Right? How if we don't do this and we live in, more misery the next 5 or 10 years, I mean, that is a giant cost comparison to a few $100 or a few thousand maybe, or whatever it might be.
Well, we've been told quite a few times recently by professionals, your prices should be way more than what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they may not be expensive to some people. I mean, you can buy the program for £195, and to know that you empty your bucket for that and you've got a tool for life and you've not got no more expense with it, really is a gift. But we also appreciate it's taken 10 years from nothing to build experience, knowledge, to get the book. We've got accreditation, we've got validation by the university, as you shared at the beginning, which also made the point that high anxiety and depression scales were down over 60% by a group of police officers by the end of the program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there are many programs out there that can declare that 99% works.
Yeah, that's an amazing hit rate.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So, what would you recommend in terms of, regardless of what people are dealing with? What would you? Is there any different programs or different approaches in terms of?
The two programs we offer are, option one is you get into the program, you've got all the education and the guidance. We know everybody we're working with, wherever they are around the world, because that's taken care of in the program. You see what you're going to do. You get little videos that are essential to watch to get the first round of education. You see what you're going to do, and then you do it. There's a guided audio options with or without music. First
so
module,
guided program.
It's all integrated. And then they get module 2 5 days later. The other option is to work one-to-one online. And, that's wonderful. When you're working with somebody in Australia or Africa or New Zealand, it's like we're in the same room together. And once they've had those first couple of sessions, this is about empowering. This is about saying, look, you can take control of your own well-being. I'm here, and Daniel's here, and a team are here to support you and guide you when you need that, but you have to do this for yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's an important part. It is for oneself. Yeah. Cool. And then you have for families as well, I saw. Groups or smaller, bigger groups.
Well, we don't work in groups or workshops anymore. Well, we stopped doing that when we all went into lockdown. And whilst we could bring them back, this seems we can do them by request. Maybe for a group of workers, a family group. But the reason being, when we did the workshops that we used to travel around doing, there was a lot of information to take in. And anyone with PTSD or complex PTSD, remembering all that. And then they forget.
Right.
So even though they had written material, people lose their written material. But now they truly get a tool for life, because they get the online program. They can revisit the presentations anytime. And everybody gets our support. We don't pay anything for that.
Right.
We know some will need it more than others, and that's important. It's important that people know we're not faceless, that they just crack on and do it and hope for the best. This is too powerful for that.
Yeah. So that means that people can actually buy the self-guided program and actually get on a call with you as well, just to.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's amazing.
Awesome. They can email, they can pick up the phone, they can book a call.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Important.
It's important.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, would you also have you done that in the past, or have you considering joining retreats or joining different workshops around or yoga retreats maybe or something?
Well, the problem is, although teaching somebody how to release is simple enough.
Okay.
It's simple like breathing. It's simple like heart, and yet they're two powerful systems in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And this releasing is the most powerful healing journey one can take. And I've never taken it lightly. I've never taken it frivolously,
Mm-hmm.
because I say to potential clients, look, I can get a 10-year-old to show you how to release.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
We've spoken to many people that said, oh, I saw something on a YouTube once, and are you using it? No. Well, of course they wouldn't. They know nothing about it. And they can be taken into a dark place, because remember, feel it to heal it. And so what do I do with that? How do I manage that? I didn't even know that was going to happen. And we've got clients that are still doing it 9 years later, which is wonderful. And what's that cost them? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It becomes, after a year, £4 a week, less than a cup of coffee, 2 years, it's like not even a bottle of water, is it? And then 3 years, it's nothing.
Right.
So
no, I find it really awesome that you offer the connection or the contact and the call if that's needed. That's amazing.
That is important. And when we say that right from the beginning, you've got to have to know that you've got somewhere to go. Not everybody uses it. They don't need it. I see what's going on when they're going through the program, and at any point in the month after, and some do months later, oh my God, I've hit I've hit something here. Can you just let me know that this is okay? And I just need that reassurance. And I can give that, because my years of experience and the thousands of bodies I've worked with, put me top of my game without any hesitation. And I don't say that out of arrogance. I say it because I know it.
Yeah, I mean, experience definitely puts you in a place that is different from if you don't have it. Yeah.
We call ourselves miracle junkies. The stories that people share, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
it really is.
Awesome. Well, just to show people again, Total Release Experience, the website. And what else? And then we have the book, and that was also an audiobook, correct?
That's available on Audible, people that like listening. And we have the lovely dulcet tones of Angus King. He's a top in the audio book world of reading books. And so it's a good listen, I've been told.
And then you and me, we talked about, if people listen to this podcast and they mention Gideon, which is my first name, they get a chance to get 20% off, which is a pretty amazing deal.
Yes, that makes it affordable. And we have, if anyone worried, look, we have 100% money back guarantee if your body does not release.
Okay.
And in 10 years, let me tell you, I've never given a penny back. Nobody's ever asked.
Okay.
If they follow the guides, follow the rules, stick with what we teach and share, it's a game changer.
That's awesome.
So yes, mention Gideon, get your 20% off. We'll send you that discount code, and that will be our pleasure. We want to see people, changing their lives and living their best life.
Yeah.
Not hiding behind a painted smile.
Yeah. So is there anything you feel like sharing that you haven't, or anything that you feel like closing?
I love, some of the the quotes, and one of our best quotes came from somebody in the prison. I guess they've got time to reflect. But I mean, two things: always do what you've always done. You'll always get what you've always got. And if you feel stuck in a rut, or you think you've tried everything, try one more thing. Let your body do the talking and get out of the way. You might be surprised. Everyone loves happiness. No one wants rain. Everyone loves sunshine. Nobody likes rain. But you can't have happiness without a little pain.
Yeah.
So
maybe
you can get through anything and become the person you're meant to be. And that's our wish for everybody.
And I think that's a really good point, because I think when you are have been in a depressed mode or anxiety or whatever, and I definitely have felt that. And even though I've never really given up, it feels like it's impossible to get out of, because you feel so stuck in this rut of whatever. And the experience that there is a way out is such a, I mean, it's just it makes you be able to see that there is life in many, many areas of life that you haven't even looked at, because you have just solved this one thing. Because it's not really in some sense it's a big deal, but in some sense it's because it's just emotions. It's just stuff that's attached to sensitive parts of our body, or something we have been addicted to think about, or whatever however you want to look at it. But yeah, it's
and the body truly is a miracle. I just realized I got that little verse wrong, and I must get it right. Everyone wants happiness, nobody wants pain, but you can't have a rainbow without a little rain. That is it.
Nice. Maybe that's a good way to finish this one up.
Yeah. I could talk all day about this, even after over 10 years now of sharing it, working with people. Never ever bored, never ever without the passion, and never without the vision, because we do need something in this world that we can hit the masses with, not have to queue up, wait 18 months.
Yeah. But it's also another understanding of that when we release or let go, when all the stuff that holds us back, when that is sort of gone, we also experience that we are pure energy, because it just comes through us, and then we it does its own thing, right? I mean, we're not supposed to do anything. We're just supposed to allow the energy to just flow, right? And so
and that's the joy. Most definitely. So
I can only assume that when you help people and you see the difference, and both in yourself and others, and that will be a passion.
I had a call earlier from a young lady that's had dreadful trauma in her life, and she was gifted the program by somebody, and something she never ever thought possible for herself. She let me know today that she's now pregnant, and that is so very exciting. Her physically, mentally, emotionally, she's changed dramatically in the last 6 weeks.
Okay. Is there an estimate of how long it takes? Could it be within the first week, or is there like an average, or is it just different?
Oh, I get asked, how long does it take to empty the bucket? Oh, how long's a piece of string? It depends on your age. It depends on your history. Children, of course, will heal very quickly, and they're not going to carry that stuff to their adult life. The younger the person, but even then, young people have had tragic lives from the day they were born. So it's different for everyone, but you heal at the same time as building resilience, and that's great. And you get the benefits. So kind of everything's chugging along together. So twice a week for 9 months, you certainly notice a difference, but people notice a difference after their first session. It's a process. It's a life tool. You keep the wolves at bay, you stop your bucket filling up, but you keep healing from the past. And then it's like you're in that place of abundance, I would say. You've got peace in your heart. You're not troubled by things. And you can enjoy life without taking the strain and pain of every situation that comes your way.
Good.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope that people who are listening, and the podcast will stay up in the Facebook group. It will stay up on YouTube channel, and I can send you the file so you can put it up on somewhere else if you want that.
Be my pleasure.
And then I'm sure people will eventually see it more and more. So So unless you have more you want to share, thank you for sharing all and what you do. It's
I mean, I've enjoyed the conversation with you, Gideon, and thank you so much for the invitation to be part of your show. And I'm sure it's kind of very aligned to your own thinking about the world and us as human beings, and the gifts that we have that are so untapped.
Yeah.
We don't know what we've got. And when we can start to step out of that zone and say, well, get curious. What else have I got? Am I able to do that? Not fear that it'll never work for me. It's not for me. It can't happen. You all, whoever listens to this, I say you all have something unique to give the world. And it's only your past that's prevented you, that's clouded you, that's had you believe that you're not worthy or you're not good enough or you haven't got anything to offer, but you truly have. And that's something you can find, but you just have to seek it. And it's not as far away as you imagine.
No, it's not. And I think it's about getting started, right? And also committing yourself to a better life, whatever that is, and commit yourself to something and make a decision. The more we go with one thing and do it full on, we will get a lot out of that, regardless of. It doesn't have to be. It can be this. It can be something else. But it's important to just really commit to the life you want to live, because we need to put that picture in our mind of how we want to live before we can.
Well, it passes by very quickly.
Yeah. And I think that's also what you realize when you have sort of at least woken up or at least gotten to a better place. You realize, and it's not something you should regret, but you also realize that what would have happened if I did this 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
And I mean, we live in that society, Gideon, and I will say, about the trauma that so many young children and adults are suffering from the war in Ukraine. And when I was talking to somebody who said they knew somebody whose 6-year-old daughter wasn't speaking, wasn't eating, and you think their little buckets are full already. And anyone that knows anyone from Ukraine, let me speak to them, because I want to help them. Especially the children. They can't grow. They can't. What start in life have they got? They've got it. And what have they got?
Yeah, they just have to make up their mind. Adults have to change their minds.
Yeah, it is a mindset change, but it can happen. It happens when it's meant to happen. And we all have a choice. We take the choice or we don't. But I'm here when people are ready to make that choice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you very much for your time, for the conversation. And I'm sure this will do good. And I'm sure we can do this again sometime in the future and just do our thing. And
and I thank you again. And I look forward to, collaborating with you, because any way to get the message, the word, and share and help and support is what it's got to be. And we can't do it alone.
No, we got to help each other. All good. Well, thank you. And to everyone out there, may you be well and safe until next time on your unique journey in life. Ciao for now.
Bye.
To discover your own unique journey, you have to follow your own heart.